It's probably somewhere between mile 1 and mile 140 in the Ironman triathlon, where plenty of athletes start listening to a voice inside their heads. And that voice is saying, "What have I gotten myself into?" And then, depending on where they're at in the race, whether it's on land, in water, or on a bike, the athletes start listening to a different sound. The sound of the Ironman race itself, the competition, endless hours of training, the sounds of their hands splashing in the water, the chain on their bike, the crowd. All of it adding up to and comprising the Ironman vibes. Coming up today, we interview local trial lawyer and longtime Ironman triathlete Rob Wilhite about the vibes of winning on the racetrack, as well as in the courtroom, and how listening can make all the difference. That's what's next. And this
is the Colorado Vibe.
Welcome back to the Colorado Vibe, the mile-high sound experience that allows you to hear the sounds, listen to the locations, and discover the frequencies and folk that define the Colorado Vibe. I'm your host, Jake Sanders, and today's episode takes us to the uptown Denver offices of the Savoya Law Firm, specifically to the chambers of...
My name's Rob Wilhite, and I am the managing partner of the litigation department.
The Savoya Law Firm has been a fixture of the Denver legal community for over 40 years. They are graciously hosting this podcast, and today they let us steal Rob for an interview about his experience with sound and vibrations as a trial attorney and multiple Ironman competitor. If you've been listening, you've heard Rob give the commercial breaks on the show, and his time spent out running and biking and listening to everything Colorado while seriously training for these Ironman races was actually one of the early inspirations for the show. After the break, we dive into the interview with Rob and catch some of the Ironman vibes.
The Colorado Vibe continues, but first, a word from our sponsor.
Since 1977, the Colorado trial attorneys of the Savoya Law Firm have helped our clients seek justice when they've been injured. I'm Rob Wilhite, athlete, trial attorney, father, and partner at the Savoya Law Firm. We're proud to put on the Colorado Vibe podcast because we know that serving the Colorado community is about connecting and listening, just as much as it is about seeking justice for our clients. There really is no difference between one lawyer and the next. We all have access to the same case law, but we might not all be equal in the same way we serve and listen to our clients and lead them to successful results. On my runs, I'm always listening to books, podcasts, concerts, music, or just the sounds of nature. So thank you for listening, and until next time, this is the Colorado Vibe.
So can you start by just saying your name and professional title?
My name's Robert Wilhite, or should I go by Rob? What do you think, Jake?
Who's your stage personality?
That's a good point. But
Is
I
it
always
Rob?
go by Rob. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, okay. My name's Rob Wilhite, and I am the managing partner of the litigation department of the Savoya Law Firm.
So what does sound mean to you, just the concept of sound?
It's an escape from reality, be able to hear everything that's going around, just be able to relax. And it's a way to just relax. I mean, really, that's what it means to me.
I love it. And then, so in your work professionally as a trial lawyer, how does sound manifest itself in your work?
By the way people talk, their inflection and their voice, what they're doing, it leads you on to other tracks to know, are people being truthful? Are they not being truthful? What are they thinking? Are they unsure of their answer? maybe I need to ask more questions because they don't know exactly what they're asking.
And so that's all in tone and inflection. Is that 100% all sound, or there's also some body stuff there too, probably?
Of course, there's always body language. There always is body language. But that being said, you can't always see the person's body language because they may be sitting behind a podium, or they may be sitting behind a desk, or they may be behind a big table that you can't see. So you have to just listen.
Speaking of favorite sound, what's one sound you could listen to all day?
Books on tape.
What's your least favorite sound then, in that same regard? What's a sound you wouldn't want to listen to all day?
Crying baby.
That gets the emotions going.
Yes.
So I totally hear you. If you could choose one sound to represent Colorado, what would it be?
A river water, a running river.
You spoke to the trial in the courtroom. You're picking up sounds. You're listening to the intonation of people's voice. You also are a Ironman athlete, triathlete. Can you briefly describe the Ironman triathlon? Just briefly describe it for people who are unfamiliar.
A 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and 26.2 mile run. Done back to back to back, all in a day.
God, that sounds horrible. Sounds amazing, I guess. So that's like 140 miles. Think of all the various incantations of sound throughout that. And can you just unpack the way sound impacts the way you run and win races of this magnitude?
Well, so it varies by discipline. So when you're swimming, the sound is going to be the sound of how you're cutting through the water. It's the ability to see, am I swimming right? Am I splashing too hard? Am I going as streamlined as I can? Because that's the one part of the race where there's nothing but just you and the people around you. And you don't see them all the time. You're looking up. You have to look up when you swim to make sure you're following the tracks and going through the buoys. When you're on the bike, what's really crazy is you listen for the sound of, is there anything mechanical wrong with my bike? Is there a clattering? Is there a hiss from a tire blowing? Something going out? And then you also are just listening for the sound of, is there anyone around me? Can I move over to the left or right? And when you're running, you're listening to the sound, the only time, of people in the race, at the fans. The fans are cheering you, you're going by, they're saying your name, they're clapping. And that's when it means the most to you, because the end of the race, which is the run, is the hardest part. That's when you're most exhausted during the day.
And then, so what's that sound like when you finish? I mean, what's the sound of finishing an Ironman?
I'm finally done. Thank God. I'm never going to do this again.
And yet you keep training, huh?
Over and over and over.
For links or show notes, visit our website or follow us on social media, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the Colorado Vibe on Apple Podcasts. Until next time, enjoy the vibe.